Hello, internet types. My apologies that it's been so long since I've posted something, but there hasn't been anything going on over here to post. Uh, so it may be a little odd that I start off with my vegetable garden, but it's actually about water conservation. So I have a pretty big garden, as you can see, and I like using rainwater to water the different vegetables rather than the municipal potable water. So I have a bunch of hose sections, some valves, and they're actually PVC conduit pipes that I've capped at the end and drilled small holes into. Sometimes the holes are all along the pipe, sometimes they're every 2 or 3 feet, depending upon what it's for. For example, my giant piece of kale there. So everything comes through here, goes underneath our deck, and ends up over here. And this is really what I wanted to show you. So this is a 1800 liter tank. I think it's in the neighborhood of 4,000 US gallons. I purchased it at the local farm store and propped it up on a base. And as you can see, as far as the distribution goes, I have like a valve system that goes to a couple different places. The loose hose, the garden, the one I just showed you, as well as some lines that go out to the front lawn. So they all come off of the roof, which is up there. I have about 1,000 square feet of flat roof that comes down this pipe. The roof is a EPDM liner, and so what we have over here is what we call a first flush diverter. So basically any heavy solids that come along this pipe, they're going to want to fall into here before, and this is going to fill up typically with the more junky material before it's allowed to continue. And then inside here, basically the bottom of this pipe is a portion of it's been cut out, and there's a screen that's put in place. And that screen typically in the summer is obviously pointed down where it basically goes into the tank. But I can rotate this pipe in the early spring or fall, which puts the vent at the top, which basically means that nothing goes inside this tank and it continues along. Now what I found when I first started to set this up is the screen would get clogged with leaves, and then no water would end up coming in here. So what I actually had to do is build a bit of a dam almost, which is what's happening inside here. So essentially I put 2 end caps together and cut half of it off, the top half. So now what happens is that the water has to like reach a level like 50% of this pipe before it can actually overflow this point. And what, as you can imagine, happens is the leaves float along the top and the water continues down. And if the screen gets clogged, this whole thing starts to fill up with water, and then the leaves float to the top and the water ends up going down. And only in extreme cases does basically the water go over top of this dam and down through, and then there's the overflow, which leads out to the front lawn, to the street. So yeah, this has been super useful, and it's really conserved a lot of water, municipal water. It the whole operation has easily paid for itself in the first year, if not the second year. And there's a couple of interesting things that happen. Is that one, obviously my vegetables do very well because you're using rainwater as opposed to chlorinated municipal water. There's the reduction in the cost of buying water. But the other interesting thing that we discussed when I had the local conservation authority over is what this does for storm water management, for storm surges. So when there's a huge downpour, and it only lasts, you know, a half an hour, a lot of that water off of your roof ends up going out to the street or out to the municipal storm system. And what it does is it creates a influx of water that puts a strain on the on those systems. And what that tank basically does is it acts as a buffer where it sort of absorbs that initial surge of water and stores it in the tank, and only if the tank basically fills up would it then continue onto the city. But that could be potentially, you know, half an hour to an hour after the storm has started, and that's usually enough time for the system to catch up. So that's a huge cost these days, and it's a huge source of concern for like insurance and flooding, and you know, issues with upgrading the municipal services all the time, and then your taxes. So you know, you have to really ask yourself, why isn't everybody getting these tanks? And I used to have one of those rain barrels, but and the rain barrels are fine, they're just small. And if you can basically do something larger like I did, it's well worth it, because you end up with something that is just something that's far more usable, something that still has the same kind of payback and also has the benefit of that storm surge. So I think maybe I have to pick some kale, make some ribolita soup or something. Anyways, that's my video, guys. Hopefully there's a couple other projects coming up and I can make a few more. And yeah, thanks for watching.